Hello, and welcome to another weekly recap, looking at some of the brand new changes and quality of life tweaks straight from the Jagex team to your screen. I'm Knightenator, and I hope you remember to bring your spade because we're starting with Crack the Clue 3. It'll take all your thinking power and perhaps some friends to bounce ideas off of to crack this clue created by the one and only Wooks. Posty Pete needs your assistance to help make sense of the 4 clue scrolls handed to him by a hooded stranger. If you think you've got what it takes to make light work of this, then head to the OSRS news post to see all the information and get cracking. Oh, and I actually have no idea if you need a spade. For all I know, it might be a piece of cheese needed to solve this, so enjoy, good luck. Oh, and if you do beat it, can I borrow your homework, please? Now, have you ever wanted to remember the nostalgic feeling of starting RuneScape? As someone who's been playing for over 18 years, I know. I can't tell you just how much I love a fresh game mode to bring back the wholesome newbie feels. Well, that is exactly what you will experience with Fresh Start Worlds, which will be joining us next month. This seasonal event is set to start in October and last 6 months. It will be separate from the servers on Standard Worlds and requires an account that hasn't started Old School RuneScape before. It's open to both free-to-play and members, and at the end of the event, your account will be transferred to the Standard Game Worlds, so any progress and most items you've earned can continue on with the full game mode. Next up, we have some Tombs of Amascut changes. The team have made a couple of changes to how the supplies work. Items can now be dropped onto the ground directly from the bag interface, and when withdrawing an item, the slot that was actually selected is the one that is withdrawn, instead of the one that is at the top of the supplies bag. The jugs at Zebak have been given an attack delay, which means no more wasted ammo when ranging them. Unless you miss, of course. The summary board will now acknowledge any member that has left mid-raid, giving you another way to flame your teammates. And they fixed an issue where Deadly Prayer's invocation was showing incorrect stats on the summary interface for prayer effectiveness. And last but not least, the following items have now been marked as valuable to stop any accidental drops. And we've got some group Ironman changes. We've made some changes to the degrading system for Ironman mode. Iron players are able to set a permanent flag on their account, preventing them from ever degrading their account. However, for many of you, that choice was made before the unranked group Ironman came out. Because some of you made that choice before you had this information, we're giving you the chance to remake this choice. Every Iron player who has previously set their status to permanent will now be set to limited status. However, you now have the option to become an unranked group Ironman, should you wish to. If you choose to do so, you will never become a main account and you will be an unranked group Ironman forever. For those of you who are certain that the solo Iron life is for you, you may return to the Iron Shooter in Lumbridge to set your status back to being permanent. Remember, permanent means forever, meaning it would not be subject to review by player support, so don't take this decision lightly. You don't have to make the choice immediately, and you can continue playing while you come to a decision. Steam and mobile client fixes. We've tweaked the new tooltips to make them easier to read. The shortcuts at the Guardians of the Rift and the southwest of Necropolis are now highlighted by the agility helper. Redwood trees at the Farming Guild will now display their respawn timer when chopped. Venom now correctly displays on the buff bar. For Steam only, players can now complete the Stronghold of Security with either 2-factor authenticator or Steam Guard enabled. And holding shift while on the inventory, then switching to a different tab, letting go of shift and then switching back to the inventory will no longer keep the shift button active. Clue steps, which display a lot of text on the Clue Helper overlay, will now have a scroll bar which allows you to scroll and look at all of the text displayed. The Clue Helper display now correctly displays that you need turquoise road bottoms for the easy clue step by the Lumbridge Mill. The Cipher Clue, where you need to talk to Eland, now correctly displays the world map icon when looking at the Prifddinas map. The spacing between the lines on the Clue Helper overlay has been adjusted to shorten the gap between the sections of the overlay. They fixed an issue where certain quest clues weren't showing all information related to the relevant clue scroll. An issue has been resolved where the HP bar would not reappear if they are attacked on the same cycle as the previous health bar fades out. And finally, they fixed an issue where the Herbivore helper would not correctly update in certain scenarios. Next up, we have the Wilderness Boss rework rewards and Poison Dynamite beta. For those of you wanting another week to test out the Wilderness Boss rework rewards, we've got some good news. We're keeping the beta open as we've changed the Voidwaker's special attack cost to 50%. Previously, it was 60%. So feel free to test out the latest tweak to the rewards. The team have taken your feedback for quest speedrunning, and the team will be working hard to make improvements before it's released. As for Poison Dynamite, here's a little look at our plans going forward. Upgrading the poison damage to P++. Your damage type will be based on your equipped weapon and attack style. The Poison Dynamite will no longer be used in the fight caves. You will no longer be able to poison your foes on hits of 0. You will not be able to hit multiple targets even in multi-way combat. Easier targeting options were a big point surrounding early feedback, and we have 2 alternatives that we'd like your thoughts on. Poison Dynamite will always hit a 3x3 area of attack. This also lets us update fun weapons, making them -100 in all stats. Or, Poison Dynamite will become thrown, aka sticky, and the player must use the dynamite on the NPC within a 1-tile range, with significant action delays. One thing we will not be doing is changing the poison type to venom. We feel this is too overpowered and goes against the premise of this new item. And in other changes, players using the quitboard option on Zulrah's boat will no longer have their cameras forcibly locked in place to observe the snake's spawn animation, and they'll be able to start fighting the snake slightly faster. Crossbow and Vigorous chain mace bonuses will no longer apply to magic damage. A spammy message about pet reclamation is no longer displayed on Tutorial Island, as the players there shouldn't need it. Group Iron players are no longer permitted to travel from Lumbridge to the node whenever the grouping system becomes temporarily unavailable, as they'd then be obliged to wait on the node until the system becomes available again. Salve amulets now have a make-all dialogue for stringing them, as other amulets do. And players cutting salve shards from the outcrops after completing Haunted Mine will now continue cutting shards until they cancel the action without needing to click repeatedly. PvP rota changes. The PvP rota has now moved to period B. Feel free to take a little look at the screen now for all the information you need. World 390 for LMS competitive has been deactivated with this rota. And the PvP arena is using max/med loadouts in ranked duels and tournaments this week. And that's it for me from another weekly recap. Hopefully you've enjoyed this short but sweet little summary of the updates to Old School RuneScape, and you can look forward to another one next week from another creator. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to find me and other places on the internet, you can type in Knightenator, and you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, all of the things. And I will see you guys very soon.